Welcome to Jalsa Radio, our KYC segment. This is Program Director Vinesh, and today I have this pleasure of interviewing MP Hamish Campbell. Thank you, sir, for coming to a studio for this particular segment. The idea of this interview is not an election campaign, but it is rather for our audience to know you better. You are quite popular. I mean, you've been around, and we see you around. But this one is more to encourage our people to vote and to know the candidates even better. And before we proceed, we would like to express our gratitude to Prince Media and to our knowledge partner, Christchurch Bengali Community. And we are quite grateful to Arpan, who is here in our studio today. So thank you, Arpan, for coming. So to begin with this program, brief introduction. As you might already be aware, Dr. Hamish Campbell is a New Zealand politician and a member of Parliament, and he is a representative for the National Party. And what I understand from my Google research, that you are a medical researcher and lecturer, and you actually also have a family orchard business as well. So let's begin. So what the way we run the program is we'll give it like 15 minutes. In the first 10 minutes, we'll just try to know you, so you can share with us as much as you possibly can in 10 minutes about yourself. And then in the 5 minutes, we'll try to ask a few questions, and then we'll end up. And of course, I know you have a busy schedule, so we'll try to make it clean 15 minutes. So let's start with a simple question. That is. What is your favorite team?
Yeah, well, of course, the Crusaders are about to kick off against the Blues tonight. So, of course, got my Crusader scarf on. We're in the Plains FM studio, which is, of course, right next to the stadium. So I think it's quite an apt time to be doing this interview.
Thank you, Hamish. And just to know more about you, as I've said, what we know is what we see on Google, but we would like to hear from the horse's mouth, as you said. So let's talk about yourself. So a little bit about your background.
Yes, no, I was born here in Christchurch and grew up in the Ilam electorate. I think it's a pretty special place, the Ilam electorate. Went to Christchurch Boys High School, where I was a deputy head boy back in 1997. So you can probably work out how old I am. I am from that, and then went down to the University of Otago, where I did a PhD in cancer and viruses. So actually back in the early 2000s, wrote about coronaviruses in my PhD thesis. So it's the last couple of years through the pandemic have been kind of quite interesting for me. After I finished my PhD, I was recruited over to a medical research institute in Sydney called the Children's Medical Research Institute. So I was in researching cancer and why cancer cells rise, especially at a young age, and then moved into the autoimmune space and worked in the field of multiple sclerosis. So it's a disease where your immune system attacks your brain and spinal cord. During that time, got married to my wife, who actually comes from Ashburton, so not too far away, and we have two daughters. And just as the pandemic was really kicking off, decided to move back to Christchurch. We wanted our children to grow up here. We think it's a pretty special place. So we moved back. We have a bit of a share in an organic apple orchard out in Yalters, which is actually also in the Ilam electorate. So it's a bit of a rural electorate. I try and joke with some of my colleagues. And my wife also has an online floristry business, which is focused on sustainability and trying to use seasonal flowers and nothing that can't degrade. So yeah, have my fingers in a few pies, both in the health space, but we've also had our own business. Well, still do. So yeah, I think it gives me a wide range of experience kind of going into Parliament. So I have the goal now of being the best local MP that I can be. And I think that everybody in the Ilam electorate should, no matter wherever they're born, should be heard, should be seen, and should be represented. And that's the job, and I love it.
Thank you, Hamish. And just because you well, there's a number of things you've mentioned. So, which one would be your favorite? Running a business or being who you are today?
Oh, look, it's a huge honour to be the member of parliament for Ilam. It is it takes hard work to become a member of parliament, but it is a true honour and a privilege. It's a fascinating education into how our country works, and you get to meet some amazing people, and you get to meet some amazing communities, just like yourselves.
And looking at your constituency, especially Alam, what has gone quite well in the last, say, 3 years' time?
Well, Ilam's is look, I am paid to be biased, but I think it's a great electorate. There's not many electorates in the country that have giraffes, lions, an airport, a university. The university, of course, is going absolute gangbusters. I think they're predicting about 28,000 students to be at the University of Canterbury. So I think there's a huge growth in the Ilam electorate, and so it's a great honour to represent the area.
And your future aspirations, like what else would you like to see more happening? Or maybe make it a general. It's like New Zealand. What do you think?
Often people ask me, "You're a scientist. Why on earth would you go into politics?" But it's actually really, I think New Zealand has huge potential. I think a lot of Kiwis have huge potential. I think we should be doing more in the research and development space. If we look at our advanced aerospace industry here in New Zealand, it is now worth more than our wine industry. And so I think if we can just harness some of these innovations, I think that we could lift the quality of life for all New Zealanders. And so really, that's one of the driving forces to kind of get into politics, is kind of help accelerate research and development. Also mentioned I worked in the cancer space and also the autoimmune space, and so another big driver, because I was working in Australia, seeing what they did, is that they fund far more pharmaceutical interventions. So that has been a key focus for me. And this term, we of course initially in one of the early budgets allocated an extra $604 million to pharmaceutical interventions. That has meant there's now 33 new cancer medications and a total of about 57 new medications. And in this last budget, which was just last week, we also contributed another $54 million to that to Pharmac. So I think those are things that really are driving forces of why I got into politics.
And when we talk about this specific medical issues that people have, how do you rank like New Zealand? Are we improving, or are we kind of not really up there?
Yeah, look. I think we still our health system is still under pressure. I think we are making good ground, getting some of the wait lists down. But I think one of the big things we need to do is continue to train our workforce so we can actually have the doctors and nurses that we require. So there's a whole lot of work in the workforce space that we need to do to make sure that we have highly trained people.
Mm-hmm. Is it correct that we do train people over here, but then we lose them?
Yeah, look, there's some will go overseas, but mind you, also a bit like myself, I went overseas for a period and came back. And look, that gave me experience that I'd probably never be able to get here in New Zealand. So I think we want to have a system where people are free to go overseas, gain that experience, but we want to make sure we have a system that attracts them back. So it is a little bit give and take, and I think there's great experience to be gained overseas, but we want to have that system that people want to come back to.
Thank you, Hamish, and you would obviously appreciate that this particular interview that we are having would be mostly targeted towards our community.
Yes,
which would
absolutely.
Be like Fijians, Indians. When we talk about those communities, what would your thoughts be? Because we all agree that the number is increasing.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Do we have enough room for them, or have you got any thoughts about that?
Look, 31% of the Ilam electorate was born overseas. So yes, it is a big part of the Ilam community. I love going to a lot of these cultural events. You probably see me at a lot of them. I think it really helps add diversity to Christchurch. And once again, it kind of comes back to kind of my core goal of making sure no matter where someone is born, that I can represent them, that I can hear them, that they feel seen. And that's part of the job that I really love.
And talking about your passion, is there anything that you have quite strong belief in?
Look, I think everybody we should have a system where everybody can reach their full potential, and we want to make sure that no matter who they are, that our people growing up in New Zealand can reach their full potential, and that's really my driving motivation.
Right, and let's talk about one thing that comes to my mind is especially in New Zealand, and when more numbers are coming in about the arts. So do you have any special thoughts about that?
About arts, did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, look. I think kind of, and a lot of the community cultural events that are on is often there's a lot of dancing, a lot of singing, and I think it's really important to actually help form cultural identity. And I think it's great when you go to some of these events to actually see multiple generations taking part. And I think for some of the young kids, actually seeing some of their traditions, it gives them a sense of belonging as well. And I imagine kind of as things progress, we'll probably see emerging and a fusion of different styles. And I think that's great to see as well.
Thank you, Hamish. That takes us to the kind of a 10-minute mark. Not now talking about the community. We have voices in the community, obviously. Is the pain that they go through. So, which the government is well aware. Which when we look at the going past the fuel bowsers and we look at the prices and what would your thoughts be there? I mean, obviously you can't do much. Maybe it's out of your control, but what your assurance would be?
Yeah, look, we want to acknowledge that there's been a huge increase in the cost of living, whether that be fuel. We have seen a huge inflation in New Zealand over the last kind of decade. We saw a huge inflation in house prices in the last decade. Hopefully, what it does require is actually getting our books in order to make sure that we can actually return to surplus. So it actually helps people with those everyday costs. The last thing we want to see is an increase in interest rates, which are going to cause a pain for mortgage holders. We saw under the last government rents went up $175 a week on average. Those are huge parts of the household budget. So we've got to make sure we can get on top of that. And I think kind of making sure we can get our housing market working efficiently, whether that be through land rezoning, through the Resource Management Act, I think that's going to have a huge impact. Appreciate it's a bit of an abstract way, but actually at the end of the day, the goal is to make sure we can keep house prices stable, and that everybody can flourish.
And what is your comments on jobs at the moment? Like we have this increasing unemployment rate, and especially our youth.
Yes, yeah, and that is why I think we kind of really need to make sure that our economy is growing and getting back on track. Like when we look at the high tech sector here in Christchurch, the average income is twice that of the general population. And these are the people that are buying the mountain bikes. They're the ones going up to the adventure park. They're the ones going to the cafe buying the extra coffee, and that then filters through the economy. So we need to be kind of encouraging the growing of some of these industries to make sure that the whole economy does do well. Here in Christchurch, our unemployment rate is probably a lot lower than a lot of places around the country. Part of that is due to how well our agricultural sector is going. So it's about making sure we can get that all through the economy as well.
And the other question I wanted to ask, it is more curiosity, like if you say, because we hear a lot of criticism from the current government towards how the COVID was handled by the other government at that time. If we have similar situation in future, are you prepared for it, or is your government prepared for it?
Yes, look, I think that's a very very valid question. Of course, it was pretty much 100 years between pandemics, or the Great Spanish Flu and COVID. We don't know when the next pandemic is going to be. It could be in 5 years, it could be in 10. So it is about making sure that we do have the proper learnings from the past pandemic to make sure we don't repeat the same mistakes again. And I think a lot of it, the Royal Commission has highlighted a number of issues with the handling of COVID, right from some of the advice that was ignored around teenagers getting vaccinated, right through to some of the economic policies that were implemented, which we're probably still paying for to this very day.
Okay, we are almost close to our interview. As I mentioned before, this is a project that we are running with the Plains Media as well as our knowledge partner Christchurch Bengali Community, and we have questions coming from the community. So the one question that I have received is to do with the forestry business. I understand you have been featured on the country calendar recently.
Yep.
But the question would be, for New Zealand, how do you see this business? Like, do you have this potential here?
Yeah, look, we have a probably slightly different model to forestry. The fact that it's all local, all biodegradable, and it's all online, and it's about kind of finding niches where we can be innovative. So yes, I think it is a great place to actually start up businesses, and hopefully we can encourage others to do it as well.
Great, and we are almost closing up. I have two questions. First one would be, what is your thought about Super City?
Yeah, that's really interesting. I think we are going to lose the layer of regional council. So the thing is, of course, we probably then will have a unitary authority here in Christchurch. I'm open to a super city. Whether the Waimak and Selwood are so keen on that idea, but we'll have to do. I think the main thing is we do it in collaboration, and we do it as friends, and kind of work out the best for everybody.
And the closing question, that would be the $1 million question, would be, can Crusaders do it again?
Can the Crusaders do it again? Yes, of course they can. I'm looking forward to a great win tonight.
Right. Thank you. And that was MP Hamish Campbell. Thank you, sir, for coming to the studio, to Plains Media, and joining us with this interview. This is our KYC, Know Your Candidate project that we are carrying on with the support of Plains Media as well as our knowledge partner Christchurch Bengali Community. We might catch up again later.
Yeah, hopefully, and yes. Hopefully we'll be seeing you around Christchurch.
Yep, sure. Thank you so much. And so we will close up this interview now, and we will catch up with some other videos, some other interviews in future as we carry on with this KYC. And who knows, in the future we might catch up with you again, and the questions will be a little bit different go closer to the event. So signing off from this interview, this is Program Director Vinesh.